So today we're making another video. This one will be about making a coffee table for the salon. We're replacing the regular dinner table that's there usually that we never use. It's gonna be in Corian, so we're gonna be working with Corian solid surface. So this is actually could be very instructive to anybody who wants to do their kitchen in Corian or a solid surface. Very simple to make. So let's get started. So first off, we have this Salon table, the wooden table, the original one from Lagoon. What I'm going to be using is just these. We're going to remove these two kind of pedestals that fit right into the feet of the table. Boat comes with originally with short table to make a coffee table. We start by removing these two pedestals. So the screws are all Torx bits, size 25, pretty big. I just don't know if they're glued down or not. Probably are. Yeah, definitely glued down. I got an old wood chisel to go underneath. Don't use a good one. This is an old one, beat up one. So the bases, I'm not going to screw the bases into the Corian. I'm going to be screwing it into a 3/4 inch plywood, marine ply. It's Okume that I've got in stock, that I had in stock. Actually, perfect size, already cut. Just got to do the rounds now, and I'll cut it off with a jigsaw. We're going to be screwing into the wood and not the Corian, but the ring, the discs that I'm going to be making, we're going to epoxy them. So I'm going to be mixing up a little bit of epoxy to screw that in. No, to glue it in. On. Not in. So now I'm going to do the orbital around it just to make it nice and clean with a 120 grit, I think. So this is our leftover Corian that we have from the work that we did in the gallery and the salon and for the card table. You can see all that in one of my previous videos. So we got 109. We had 93 over there. 109 minus 93 is 16. So we got 16 centimeters difference. So we want 8 centimeters on each side. So it's going to be 8 centimeters from the edge on each side, because we're not going to cut it lengthwise. And so then we're going to put the same thing, the same overhang of 8 centimeters on the width. To 22.5, we're going to add 16. So the table is going to be 109 centimeters by 38. There we go. So first we check if there's any square corners. This is actually very good. These two corners are good enough. And then we just put the 38 in there. And we're ready to cut. I think we're going to be using the circular saw. The circular saw is a cordless one, so it's a 6.5 blade. And I've got on this carbide bit finishing blade, so that's 40 teeth. So you want to have a finishing blade to do this type of work. And of course, you got to adjust your depth. You want to be almost flush to the bottom part. You don't want to have your blade, you don't want to have the blade too deep. Just so that it passes through. This way there's less risk of chipping. So now you just gotta be cutting it real slow so it doesn't chip. But you also want to have somebody or something, depending on the table you're working on. Here, there's nothing underneath, so somebody's got to be holding this up so that it doesn't, when you come to the end, otherwise it's just going to chip, it's just going to break off. So the Corian we're using is 1/2 inch thick, and you can see here I'm using cutoffs from when I did the kitchen, when I did the galley. I had already cut quite a few of these long pieces to make the edges look thicker. It's gonna actually look like a 1 inch piece. So next step, sorry for the background noise, we got the water maker going. So I got everything ready now on the table, except for the gloves. You need gloves to do this job. So you want to have as many of these as possible. You want the less spacing in between them. See, I'm running out of these clips, so I'm actually using super small one, but they're still strong enough. So here's the glue gun, specific for this type of special epoxy. We got an old tube. This one's already open. It's like almost empty. We're going to use this and then use this one that's new. I don't think we'll use this one. So I'm doing this in one shot. I'm going to try to do it one shot so that I don't have to use this one, because if I do only one piece, this the glue inside the tube here will dry up within minutes. So you can only do it one shot all around, or you have to use a second tube. So this is obviously the underside of the table. So what I want to do is let it hang over, let this part, the one that's going to give the thickness here, I want to hang it over about 1/8. So this is actually off the edge by about 1/8, so that when I pass the router, that's when it's going to come all nice and smooth. And you'll see the glue going into the tube, and it just mixes the epoxy together. So let's start on this side. So you want to make sure you're putting a bead. It's got to be a full bead, because it's got to bleed out basically. So you want to put the bead actually on the edge of the surface you're gluing it to, and not too much in the middle of the piece. This way, this will actually bleed out. You do have to work fast with this glue, because I'd say 1/2 hour, it's already ready to grind. Actually, it gets that hard that fast. So now I'm also going to glue it to the other piece here. Put plenty of glue there, so that when we go to grinding, when we go to put the router, we're going to router that part out, and there's not going to be a hole, there's going to be glue there. You do have to make sure that these two are touching perfectly. So we got overhang all over, 4 corners are touching. So now we just let it set. It's been a few hours, and the glue is still, I could put my nail in it, so still not hard. It should be like hard as a rock. Super humid, super hot today, so I'm thinking we'll just put it aside and start using the router on it tomorrow. So we'll let it dry overnight. This we can obviously remove, because I mean, it's not going anywhere, it's still solid. It's just I want it really, really hard as a rock before we start routering anything. That's the Corian kit. First thing, we're gonna cut off these edges that are on the four corners. Just a rough cut, not flush to the edge, obviously, just so that the router doesn't have to cut the whole thing off. So rough cut with the circular saw again. Then what I'm gonna do is use the chisel and just remove whatever glue I have on the top plate here, so that when I do the router bit, the bearing part won't be touching any glue, and so there's not going to be any bump, because this edge where the bearing is going to be touching needs to be super smooth. Okay, so now I got the quarter round router bit. I'm gonna put that one in so that it just rounds off the edges. I use this piece just to see if it's the right depth, because if it's too deep, you're gonna get a line on top. If not, well, it's just not a perfect round shape. So you practice on one piece of scrap beforehand. So let's get started. Now you also want to round off the vertical edge. You got to be very, very careful, keep it very straight to do this round part. So next step is polishing. We're not going to go into details with it. I do have a video, my very first video, if I'm not mistaken, covers polishing of Corian. But just fast, what we have here again is what I have in stock. I got a 120 here, which is a little bit of an old one, which is perfect because 120 is actually very rough. After that, I'm going to go with 320 600. That's all orbital, and then we'll wet sand by hand with 800, 1000, 15, 2000, and finish off with 2500, and then put a polish on it, and that should do it. So top part is not really that rough, so I don't need that 120 grit. I'm going to use it while I have a lot of grain on the paper. I'm going to use it on the edges, on the sides, because the sides are rough. Even though you pass the router, it's got glue on it, it's a little bit rough, so you want to smooth that out while you have a lot of grit. So the table is done finally. Did all the sanding. So I've run out of battery. I run out of space on my my iPhone, and I also ran out of time because I had to get this done ASAP. But you can see the video of polishing Corian, my very first video on the channel. That's what it shows you. So this is the finished product. Just glued the table right on the legs, took my measurements left to right, front to back, so that it's centered. And yeah, this is what it looks like. Finished coffee table. There you have it, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to like, don't forget to share, and have a great day.